All right, welcome back, everyone, to, of course, our Red Spotlight Entertainment show for our Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reaction commentary series. For the longtime S.H.I.E.L.D. fan wants to come back on here and talk endlessly about one of our favorite shows of all time. If you can believe it, we are now really just about to wrap up our second season, because this is really wrapping up the second season of the show, which is insane. We're recording this in March 2024. David, have we already been doing this for a year? When, or would it be April that we started?
I think it was April. I think it was April. I can look it up.
That's insane. Because it's like, it took us about more or less almost a year to do 2 seasons.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we didn't do every single week consistently because we had built-in breaks, and then breaks that were not necessarily planned, for various reasons that we've already explained. So it's kind of crazy to think that, but yeah, here we are.
Mm-hmm.
And so today what we decided to do is we're actually going to break them up. So we're not going to do a huge giant episode here. So we're just going to do S.O.S. Part 1, to be clear about that. And then Part 2 is going to have a whole bunch of stuff added on to it. I'm sure we'll have Emily's video on top of that. And then I don't think there'll be too much. We'll have Ami's reaction at the end, but I can't think of I can't read Eric or Oliver's reviews because they combine Part 1 and Part 2 together. So I can't get into that just yet because we're not going to actually react to Part 2. And of course, for those maybe who are tuning in, we obviously have seen the show various times before. This is a rewatch series. Yeah, it's kind of crazy that we're already here at the end. I think the last episode really set things up beautifully. You had mentioned all throughout the year, well, all throughout this season, which is technically a year, that, by the way, when did we begin season 2?
Season 2, I don't know. But,
was it October? December, November? I know we don't necessarily have it. I just want to keep track of how long we've been doing a season.
April 19th was when we first started, so we're almost at a year.
Okay.
So there's that. And then I see here, season 2, episode 1. That was October 18th.
From October, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Anyway, so just giving you a heads up about what today's show is going to be. I did not say I'm Alexis, of course. This is David. We've been doing this since apparently the 19th of April. And we love this show, and we're kind of reliving it and rewatching it, and we hope that you want to do the same thing with us. So, of course, before we begin anything, as a plane is hovering over my house, great, and I hope the audio can pick that up, because that's wonderful. David, what comments do we have from last time?
There's 4. First one's from Silva Surfa. Hello, fellow agents. Hope you are both doing well. I always found that scene with Sky talking shit to May about Bahrain made her look like a fool. Sky has no blame for the inhuman mom or the evil kid, but dumps it all on May, who obviously is still traumatized by that event. That was a low blow and pretty crappy of Sky, in my opinion.
I'm not sure how much of an opinion that is, as that's what the intent was.
Yeah.
I don't know if, and that's not to, talk down to Silva. I feel like if we're to think about what that was, I don't necessarily feel like the intent of that scene was to paint Daisy as in the right. And yes, it was a low blow, and I believe Phil was about to step in and to tell her to shut up, because that's really not what's going on here. And to be fair, though, as much as we love Daisy, there are plenty of times where she can dish it out, and it comes from a justified place. I think in this situation, it speaks to where she is, and I think this episode is also going to speak to where she is, and she's going to have to make a decision here in this episode. Why was she lashing out at May that way? Because she's in this in-between space where she's in between 2 homes, and she does not want to endanger her family, which she invariably feels is going to happen if she informs S.H.I.E.L.D. about who they are. So she's obviously taking it to extremes, but that's who Daisy is as a character. So in my eyes, that's very consistent with how she is. She always takes it that way, and she is very blunt. But yeah, I don't disagree with that. I do feel the way that it was presented, you were made to feel that way. Like, yeah, that was a bit of a low blow, and yeah, I don't think necessarily it's coming from a sound point of view. It very much is coming from somebody who is going through something of an identity crisis and not sure which way it's going to go. David.
No, yeah, I agree.
All right, next one.
Yeah, next one's from Silva. Team Cap all the way. Which, yeah.
Hey, now, this is obviously a S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast, not a Marvel podcast. But I feel like from the very beginning. Now, granted, of course, my love for the Marvel Cinematic Universe has waned considerably as the years have gone on by. But I feel like if you just pay attention to those movies, they themselves firmly land behind Cap. I don't want to use this to really litigate that, as I was trying to say last time, but it's like Tony Stark was wrong every step of the way. And it was in his nature to want to do right, but consistently come out in a really fucked up way. And all of the people who were like, Team Iron Man, I mean, didn't last week's episode just speak to that? It's like, what did Gonzalez say? That, the Avengers let Tony Stark do all this shit because they were won over by his charm. They were won over by his, what do they call it now these days? His charisma, basically. So it's like all those Marvel fans are just telling on themselves, yeah, we would have let Tony do the exact same thing because we liked him. But I thought you people were like, no, we need to be on the ideological side of like what Tony didn't have an ideology. He just felt bad that he ended up indirectly killing people because of what he created, which is something that Fitz is going to come to face with later on in the series. And it actually is brought up to him several times, I think from seasons 4 through 5, especially, where like he's come to terms with like his creations coming to life basically and killing everybody. But I do feel like, looking back on it, I don't want to say the films had that much depth in terms of like that debate, from a philosophical standpoint, because it really just came down to a personal like thing. And then Tony unraveled. I mean, yeah, you can say that, Cap was too emotional. Cap was like trying to protect his friend and he wasn't seeing the big picture. Literally, Tony fell to pieces. I don't care. He killed my mom. We could literally, and I don't mean to like, sound like, to make all of you groan, but I could literally do this all day and like go toe to toe with like, if you want to like, seriously, I want to say in the commentaries that we did in the past, it's just like the films themselves even proved Tony Stark wrong. I mean, there was even in the movie Civil War, it's like, what's his name? Thaddeus Ross was saying, you're lucky you're not in one of those cells yourself. Therefore, proving the whole idea of the Accords wrong to begin with, because what an asinine thing to say. What an asinine thing to say. So, I think it all just stems from people like Tony Stark, people like RDJ, people loved Iron Man, and at the time, there wasn't that much reverence for Captain America, the First Avenger. Captain America did not really have, like, people's hearts until really Winter Soldier. Because people still were dunking on Cap when the Avengers came out. Then Winter Soldier was like, oh my god, Cap's cool now. Look at how badass he was. See how simple-minded it is? So now I can like him. Get fucked. That's just what how I am. Anyway, thank you, Silva, for seeing the light. Go ahead, David. What's the next comment?
Next one's from Serenity. I mean, the fish pills do work as a Terrigen bomb. Sure, not in the same way it happens in the comics.
So stop right there. The Terrigen bomb. Now that's what this person is referencing a review that I read from Oliver Sava of the AV Club, because he was theorizing that at some point they were going to introduce the Terrigen bomb. I'm not sure if I read the whole thing quite through because he kind of lost me. I'm not sure what that was, but I stopped reading it because I did not necessarily. First of all, didn't know what it was, what he was referencing to, and then also just seemed like a lost cause because, to my knowledge, the show never did that, so it seemed like a waste of time. Who was the comment that
was from? Was it? Serenity.
So Serenity. Okay, so are they saying that they did a version of it then, with the fish oil? Because we're about to watch in the next episode when the next episode ends. Then the Terrigen crystals merge with the fish in the ocean, and then the fish pills are mass produced, and then that's how the breakout basically happens, if you want to say. But go ahead and finish that comment.
So it's sure, not in the same way it happens in the comics, the mist enveloping a city or whatever, but we get that very bomb-like fallout graphic of its spread across the planet. So
okay, yeah, well that's okay. I guess in essence it is kind of doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
interesting. I feel like the Inhumans are obviously. Should be a very big part of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because the main character is an Inhuman.
Mm-hmm.
There is a friend of ours whose name shall never be mentioned on the show because he does not acknowledge the show's existence, and I think the feeling is mutual. But he had long made it a known critique of his, and by the way, I think a lot of his critiques on most things are very sound, but we could also put a number of his critiques in like this category of like you should not pay any attention to because it kind of makes no sense, and it kind of just irks me. So I just kind of like how like Simmons puts it in a little music box and just like put it in there, stuff it away, never acknowledge it. He made a long running thing that the show was just like never gonna go, move past the idea of Inhumans, and maybe some others felt that way. I don't know. It never registered as something that bothered me, or as a serious issue.
And I mean, but also though, they used it a lot though. Like at least, and it wasn't overplayed. At least from my perspective, that it's like okay, I would never complain that like okay, you just move on from Inhumans. Can we do something else? Can we do something else from the comics or something?
How can we move on from the Inhumans? Yeah. That's the problem. Is like they keep coming back, and I would even say when they kept coming back, it made sense. It never felt, I guess, shoehorned. Is that what the critique was about?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, my thing was just like if someone said it to me, I'd just be like, but okay, sure, we stuck with Inhumans throughout the entire series, but it's not like they were repeating stuff. It's
the same thing.
Yeah, it always felt different. It always felt like, oh, wow, that's an interesting thing to happen, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of like...
Yeah.
I mean, it's just what I think about with Supernatural. It's like we keep repeating... The seasons keep repeating itself. It's like the brothers, they had a fallout, and they go on a hunt to try to, like, get back on the groove and all that, and then they deal with the big bad guy throughout the rest of the series, and then they stop him. And it's all because, we can do anything together, blah, blah, blah. It's like that's every single season after season, I don't know, 3 or something.
Right.
And it didn't feel that way with Inhumans. I mean, I'm sure you can probably pinpoint it's like, oh, they meet an Inhuman, and then it leads to the big bad guy. But it's like, that's very... What I went with Supernatural is broad, but like that literally is what happens. I feel like with S.H.I.E.L.D., I can probably like go... Okay, but this is different from last season. This is not what happened before. This is how it...
Yeah, it doesn't feel stagnant. It continues to build and move forward. That's the point.
Yeah, this is how it affects the next season and all that. Whereas them just... with Supernatural, with them falling apart, that's just going to happen with every single season. It's like, I don't know, it just feels... It's not... I don't think it's the same.
No. What was the rest of that comment? Or was that the comment?
That was a comment. We just have one more. from Shieldeds. Jiang was playing Cal in their scene. She was trying to get him to basically kill himself fighting Shield to get rid of him for good. She just made it seem like it was his idea. Two birds, one stone.
Yeah, I think it's all of it. I think it's a simultaneous situation. I think what you had identified in that sequence was that, oh, this is like a genuine moment.
Yeah.
It was. But it doesn't change the fact that she is a cold-hearted bitch and ruthless.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh, she's like a little memory of like how I loved you. But clearly, on the whole, maybe she can find little bits that, can remind her of why she loved him. But to her, these days, he's just a tool.
Yeah, I think maybe she was trying to lead him to an idea. Could have been anything as long as it leads to him going to S.H.I.E.L.D. or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But she has to give him enough.
She has to give
make
him
sure
enough.
that he buys into it.
Mm-hmm. But then
the delusion.
Yeah, but then also too, like you mentioned what I said. You mentioned it in the episode. It's like, oh, like pay attention to in their last conversation. It really seemed, or to you, it seemed like she was manipulating him and all that.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm watching the scene, I completely forgot about what you said, like paying attention to that part, because we're watching the episode, I'm paying attention to other things that you're saying and all that. But I'm like, this feels like a really genuine moment. Like I feel like they're finally connecting to something here. Like what the heck? And then I just realized, wait, you told me to pay attention to this. Wait, and I'm like, wait, but okay, so then is she manipulating him, or did I imagine that they finally were connecting in this? I don't know. But
I think, like, I would say, like with many things, two things can be true at once, can't they?
Yeah, it could be that too.
I think two things can be true at once. Think, why that scene is there. Ultimately, yeah, she is playing him, but I mean,
maybe she also
signs up for it. He signs up for it. It's like,
Mm-hmm. Or maybe she also just didn't know what to do exactly. Maybe it's a huge, huge maybe. She was trying to think of something else to do with S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Any more comments?
That's it.
Let's go ahead and begin then. Let's start the episode.
Previously on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You sure about those coordinates? Kara.
So it's funny, I want to bring in Ami's reactions, because obviously he's been a part of our rewatch here. Is anybody... He seems particularly annoyed with two characters. Hilariously. Do you feel annoyed by any characters in the show so far?
Get everyone killed.
The ones that he singled out were Mac and May. Not that he's like not understanding where they're coming from, but he felt a little annoyed at them for like where they're at, and yeah.
I mean,
how do you feel? Maybe
Mac. Annoyed wouldn't be the right word. But I guess that's the one that I most understand, where he's just kind of like, I feel like you're blowing this way out of proportion,
right?
Like quitting S.H.I.E.L.D. because of what happened with Coulson.
Yeah,
seems a little bit too much.
Seems petty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And it's like
Something's happening. The teleporter's moving.
It really sucks how well this was staged,
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, they had him dead to rights.
Yeah.
The way that this all was set up. Jiang was like, and this also, I think, speaks to the fact that she, aside from her being ruthless, she's not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's strategic, that one. Gotta really wonder where, that's the Hydra touch, I guess, like, where she picked it up from. Seriously, and like, this is beautiful. I mean, obviously, like, I don't condone it. I'm not meaning it, but it's just like, you really could not have staged this better.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the real sucky part, where she twists the knife, I think needlessly, but like, right here.
Did you let them do this to us?
Like, shut the fuck up. I thought you were...
Yeah, I swear. Jiang, I'm here.
Like, I guess, like, she was just using this to try and get Skye to, like, completely, like, because she knows that there's a hold that S.H.I.E.L.D. has over her, and she's trying to, like, get rid of them as somebody who Sky sees as like a secondary home. Like she wants Sky officially on their side. And I guess this is why she would make comments like that. And then, of course, comes the other mom.
Take your men and get the hell out of here.
Not until I see Gonzalez.
The single hand right there is a nice touch. Just like, back the fuck up.
Yeah.
I'm the one that trained you, you know? Like,
Yeah. Honestly, I wish
like you're not going to win.
I really wish they would have kept it up for the entire fight. I don't know.
Yeah. She is in a rush, though. Like, it's not like it's a sparring session. Like, there's like a lot of chaos happening very quickly here.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like, you know, Sky's gotten better, but like, it's not really a challenge for May.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, Sky cheats, which just happened right now.
Yeah, actually.
One thing I will know is that did May not notice Quinjet fire on them? Like, she could have just said that wasn't us.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
That's true.
I wonder what happened there. Like, maybe it could be she just didn't see.
I mean, she still could have heard the explosions coming. Yeah, it's up high, and it's not that big of a place.
Or
so she could have
maybe an order was given after she left. I mean, I don't know. That was just one thing I caught.
No, I mean,
like,
honestly, the scene, like as cool as their fight was, I think you could have done a lot more to make it more intense. Like you mentioned, she could have been like, "That's not us. I don't know what the heck is going on, but I need to find Gonzalez." Like the important thing is we need to find Gonzalez. But Sky has got to be like, "You need to leave." Like, or this whole thing is getting
again.
worse.
We are talking about, but the problem is maybe that wasn't her mind, but it's May. She doesn't really communicate that well. I mean, maybe it could have been like, "Help me fix this." Well.
No, I mean, she was kind of like this with, when Coulson...
Wait, watch this.
Something like this. Oh no, Gonzalez would never attack a base unprovoked. Robert did not do this.
That's good. That helps. Yeah, but something like that too. And you mentioned like that's not something May doesn't communicate well, but she kind of did that in the first season when Coulson was thinking she was in Hydra, but she was just like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I swear, that she was, getting desperate to try to get to him. She could have done that with Sky, and you could have added more dialogue and could have shortened the fight where it's like Sky doesn't stand a chance against her. Like, right. Especially in this moment, you could have done the fight shorter, but then have Sky, be desperate enough to use her powers against her.
This episode's just pure chaos. It really is the makings. I feel like this is one of their best finales, and I really do feel like it is competitive. As I've said, S.H.I.E.L.D. is
no such luck.
I think one of it's in large part one of my favorite shows because they feel like they always delivered on their finales. Obviously, there's a weak link with season 6, but we can get there in a couple of years, obviously. But their finales are among their best directed, maybe even just in general, best episodes. So I feel like S.O.S. Part 1 and Part 2 put together, I feel like very easily comes up in people's top 10 lists of like favorite episodes of the show.
Sky feels as betrayed as we do, Lincoln. Maybe more.
I don't think we know the full story. Coulson wouldn't do
I can't do this right now. I'd like everyone to leave. I need rest if I'm...
Shutting down the conversation at just the right moment because, like, first, what was Sky gonna say? Coulson wouldn't do this. Yeah, we can't dwell on that. Mm-hmm. We have to keep making her be doubtful of what happened.
Forget about the plane. Can you pull up the
footage of Bobby from the base before she left? Good idea.
You know I am capable of finishing my own
sentences. Yes, you are.
Already proof that he's better because he could finish his own. I just got that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Flowers are so delicate.
It's almost like I think he also knows too. It's like I'm back to normal, and he's trying to show off.
Well, that's the tragedy because even if I were inclined to tell you,
it's been a slow build, but it's been a great build. I mean, it took the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
He could not even come close to finishing sentences, and now he's lapping Hunter, and Hunter's just like,
okay.
Our paths have been intertwined since before we even met. And I'm not talking about DNA.
The thing is, like, what's really interesting about Reina here is, like, she seems to have already accepted her fate. Like, she knows she's gonna get killed. And she's like walking into it.
I had a vision today and it revealed the truth.
Does that count as a sacrifice? Because like, I mean, you already know how things are gonna go. And you know that your death is going to be a big deal. It's going to change things going forward.
Or in this case, the Daisy. Please.
It's really interesting, like where Reyna is right now, because she's like clear-headed. I mean, basically right now she's imprisoned, obviously, but she knows what's about to happen to her.
Because you want answers, you're just not willing to hear them. In fact, we'll never speak to each other again.
I actually really liked her metaphor. It's like on the thorn and the rose. Like, holy shit. That's
and it
really
fits
cool
with what's going on.
Yeah.
She got thorns, and of course, the other person that was in that transformation was named after a flower. It is a very well-written show. I'm not sure if we've said that before, but
yeah.
It's a very well-written show.
I'm confident Lincoln will fight with us as well when the time comes. He's convinced S.H.I.E.L.D. is the threat.
I'm also kind of thinking she kind of manipulated Skye in that moment to convince her to follow her, basically, to where she's going to end up and all that.
But out of necessity, right?
Out of necessity, yeah. So it's kind of interesting how, like, because
she has to make the vision come true.
It's what's going to help her at the very end.
Yeah.
And I'm also kind of curious, though, too. It's like, before, when we were saying, like, why is she, like, you know, her, not why, but, you know, she's clearly manipulating people in these moments and all that. Was she, cool theory, I guess, that was she trying to manipulate them into hoping she could change outcomes, or maybe she can gain some control of the visions, if that makes any sense? Because I'm sure if she saw her death in this, right before this moment, or maybe she saw her death like way before, where the other visions was something like, if I can change this thing, I can probably change my outcome. And then I'm probably overthinking this, but I think it's
maybe if she had that vision way in advance, but I don't know if that's how it works with her. The way that it sounds like she gets her visions like very, very close to when it actually happens, and it very well could be that the vision didn't set in until after she was already imprisoned.
That's me leaving the base again.
Like last episode.
It's Agent 33.
By the way, it's kind of funny how many times there's been a fake May. Because if you think about that's just the beginning, because we still got season 4, and that was a whole thing. Which, by the way, I know a comment mentioned it, but I'm watching Ami's current reactions. He's in the middle of season 4. He just started the Agents of Hydra.
We'll get her to admit what she did to you.
Those episodes, especially, they've aged amazingly, but unfortunately, to our own detriment as far as society is concerned. Because I saw that Ami was just like, when do these episodes come out? Because they feel like... So, it's going to be interesting when we get to that season. Just letting you know right now. Anyway, this right here is... By the way, I am here for how done Bobby is. Like, can you look at her face? She's just like, what the fuck? Why? And then just like her passive aggressive comments, like that's how I would be. It's like, you know what? Like she's like, you know what? If you're gonna kill me, kill me.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing this? Like she's like over that.
And she technically just met Ward, and she's already like, I don't want to deal with you, honestly.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else,
I mean, but to be fair though, she did meet him a few episodes. She met him like way back. Technically, remember there was a scene with her in the bus. It was like in the beginning of season 2. They after he escapes custody, they sent half of the team to go and chase him.
Yeah, but that was undercover. But yeah, that was more of a cover, though. She wasn't really interacting with him much.
Right. This is the first time that she's actually interacting with him.
Yeah.
And she's just like, but to be clear though, she is in large part over it because, like, I mean, even though she's never like really spent that much time with him, she does know him basically based on like, I'm sure his file, but then also all of the stories that at this point have been told repeatedly. So she knows how this thing goes.
They marked that down as the second time S.H.I.E.L.D. got played today.
Figured out what happened to Agent Morse. She left on a Quinjet with you.
By the way, it is messed up. This happens to me a lot. I know I just joked about it But this happens to May a lot, where it's like, that wasn't me.
Ward's logic is rarely logical. There's a piece we don't understand yet.
There's a piece that Ward doesn't understand. When I find him, I'm going to kill him.
The glee in which she said that? Come on. And I also just love how, like, May is like, you know what? This is exactly what I need. I need something to, like, get the fuck away from here, because she's low-key pissed right now at Skye and all the bullshit happening. She's still probably pissed at Coulson. You know what? This is her idea of a vacation. Let's just be real. That's at least how, to me, that's what, the way that she was walking, that's what it was communicating. Also, that was disgusting. Like,
It's how I felt after the mind control was removed. I remembered every terrible thing that they did to me.
So they say several times here, the mind control is gone. At this point...
What happened to you was a tragedy.
Yeah, like, you can say that S.H.I.E.L.D. could have done more, but, like, by the time there was an opportunity to do more, this bitch is gone. And I don't mean to, like, just say that, like, you know, cavalierly, but she escaped one brainwash to be brainwashed by Hydra. I mean, by Ward.
One, you swore to the same ideal when you signed a shield.
Like, she's not the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. That person died a long time ago. She just became this...
But not knowing their next move is exactly why S.H.I.E.L.D. needs to end this before it goes any further.
End this how, though? I mean, what is Weaver saying here? Like, what?
More, I won't be forced into action. We may still have assets in it.
They have powered people that can teleport onto your ship.
Mac, I thought you left.
I did, but with Gonzalez dead, I need to see this settled first.
So you agree we should attack?
No. I agree it needs to be settled.
Not sure whether I'm happier you haven't left yet, or that you agree with me for once.
For real, though, for once.
Right?
Give me a few hours to gather more information.
3 hours. We'll continue gathering intel on this side.
I feel like strategically, you need to shore up your bases, because if they can teleport in and out, you know their location, but it's gonna take a while to get over there. I don't know. Just double the guard, like, shut everything down, be ready for when they're gonna jump in on your asses, because that's clearly what's gonna happen.
And what's with the doodad on my wrist? Huh?
Cal is just full of, like, amazing lines. Like, it's all Kyle MacLachlan that's doing it. Like, I don't know. Like, you make these lines work. I'm not a polar bear.
My understanding is you single-handedly killed a whole lot of people.
With style.
Just...
My God.
He felt so proud when he said,
I'm so
like,
curious.
the way I killed those people was the best.
I'm so curious if anyone ever interviewed him about the show. Like, what was his thoughts?
Yeah.
Various metabolic enhancers, methamphetamines, what appears to be gorilla testosterone, and, no lie, a drop of peppermint.
And all of that, except for what they claim the bad stuff, is what they put into director Jeffrey Mace's formula to make him have inhuman powers in season 4. So, which they do reference when they figure out that it was a fake.
It's happening. She feels it.
Yay. I mean, this is what gets you going?
I'm helping her heal from wounds you inflicted.
Then take her to Hawaii.
She's not wrong. Which, by the way, hilariously is what May and
Coulson.
Dr. Gardner go. Not Coulson. May and Dr. Gardner are about to go on a Hawaiian vacation after this season ends. Remember, in between season 2 and 3, they go to Hawaii.
Oh, okay. I was kind of thinking what her and Coulson did when they got
that was Tahiti.
5. Yeah. Well,
that
Tahiti, but either way,
yeah,
it's an island.
Yeah.
I will always stand with Ward.
Fuck you too. I mean, that's the way you want it. That's the way it's gonna be, unfortunately for you.
I'm here to show the Inhumans exactly what you are. Even in the darkness, they will see the truth.
No. They won't.
Kind of cool in their clothing. I don't know. I just find it interesting that Reyna is wearing red underneath, hers is blue. I don't know. Contrasting.
I did not even realize that. Yeah, I'm sure somebody thought of that too, but you're right. You're right.
Also, cool visual. Her dropping the coins. It's like, oh,
Yep.
I'm not joining you now.
Could I get a glass of that water?
The look Coulson gave Cal, is the look I give whenever I'm asked for a nurse's pass. Which is at least 5 times a day, and I wish I were kidding, but I'm not.
Never goes down without a fight. What the hell does Ward want with her?
No idea.
The thing about Hunter that I like, anyway, is he literally never shuts up about how much he loves his wife, ex-wife. It's like, it went from the season always talking shit about her, again, talking about coming full circle. Now, literally, he cannot stop saying great things about her.
He's a coward who always has an excuse or someone else to blame.
Yep.
You don't know me.
Sure I do.
That was... I don't even know how she pulled that off, but that was perfect. And I feel she could take him if she was at full strength, but I mean, that's the problem. She's kind of fighting at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Or maybe if it was just her, but then I think Kara comes in and at that point, yeah, it's an unfair fight. But still, she's like, she's a beast. And then Ward here fucking, like, really, really... Yeah.
Keep me posted.
Where are the others?
You see that, and they really, like, this base, especially, they take it over quickly.
She didn't care if it killed you. She's using you to do her dirty work.
No!
As Coulson is laying this out, I remember, like, this is like a really like mind-blown moment. Like, oh shit. The whole time she was the monster. Like, legit. And Cal was just the one being used.
You were looking for a monster.
I don't know how I feel about the makeup.
The
in
look?
this.
Yeah, a lot of people would agree with you there.
This is what I was missing.
I don't disagree. But I think it's still fun. And I think Kyle still does the best he can. Like, he's literally, I mean, look at this.
No, yeah.
It doesn't take away at all from his performance. So it's like, if it looks weird, yeah.
I think maybe if they just added, like, extra muscles to him, I would have liked it a little bit more. I don't know.
At this point, I'm not even
First
sure
person through this door.
what to say. I'm just watching the episode.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. I'm sorry, but this is just so good.
No, yeah, for sure.
And I mean,
How do you feel when you watch somebody else die because of what you did?
I never will for you.
It's so funny that we look at Cal's craziness, but we're just having like the most fun. But we look at his craziness and we're just like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
I guess you could say it's because
there's a lot of sympathy to what happened to him, what is continuing to happen to him. There's no such sympathy with Ward. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And then the thing what's more insulting is that he murders people and he justifies that. That's what makes it. I mean, Cal doesn't even try to. I mean, well he does, but he's like
he's justified.
He brags about killing people, and yet it was still fun. He did it with style. I don't know. Yeah. I guess. What can I say? I don't know. There's the origin of Mac's hammer, or I guess his obsession with hammers, or not hammers. I'm sorry, axes.
To get off this boat.
And of course, his nickname in college was Mac Hammer, which we'll find out in season 5. I think Mac Hammer. I'm not sure what it, or maybe it was Coulson that called him Mac Hammer hilariously, and then he did a whole can't touch this thing, which was hilarious. If you remember that.
Do we have anybody left still fighting below?
It's a good moment for Mac, you know. At this point, I want to say that as fans, we're just like, we're not really thinking much of him, but he is stepping up here.
Yeah, see, if they gave him more muscles, I feel like that justifies more of his running in that moment.
Now what?
Now, we begin?
And that's it. I obviously did not mention director or writer because it's with both parts, but I want to say this was written by Jeffrey Bell, Jed Whedon, and Marissa Tancharoen, directed by Vincent Misiano and Billy Gearhart, who Billy Gearhart, of course, is returning. This was aired to 3.88 million viewers on May 12th, and we had all these people. It was a large freaking cast of people we just saw. And I'm trying to see if I can say something here that's... Oh, we'll leave that for the second part. Okay, let's go ahead and go to Ami.
Jesus, man. Oh, no extra stinger this time. Damn, dude. What's the play? Like, what's the long-term plan? Because all this does is takes S.H.I.E.L.D. off the table. Like, would this not set alarm bells off all over the world? Like, they're taking out one organization while potentially, like, just stirring up every other one on the planet. It's where I would say this would go. I mean, we haven't heard from Talbot in a long-ass time, but I'm sure that would just be the first domino in what would eventually be, like, world retaliation. Taking on S.H.I.E.L.D. just by itself, isolated, seems like an okay thing to do, or easy enough. Fine, sure, for the resources you have, but I don't know if they've got enough numbers or whatever to take out everybody. But then again, we also don't know what this thing can do, but she's got a shit ton of Terrigen crystals that she's going to use to kill all these people, I presume. The Cal thing, the escalation and the tension within those scenes, but also like the comedic timing throughout all of it, it was so much fun. Like seeing Cal lose his shit and the situation just escalate while Coulson is still trying to be as diplomatic as possible. It's one of the reasons why I love him, man. He's empathetic to a fault sometimes. Yeah. And this revelation from Raina, who at the end of the day, sure, she was, I guess, like she was, let's be real, I guess, completely honest and upfront about all of her ambitions all the time. It's not that she was really lying, and she never really did, it turns out. And never really did. I was always waiting for her to turn a situation into her benefit, and it could have easily have been lies, but it wasn't. She was awakened to her role in this place, and she no longer cared about lifting herself up anymore and saw what her actual purpose was and actually committed herself to it, which is extremely commendable. And yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. Jiaying, though, ruthless. I get it. I understand where she's coming from, especially considering that S.H.I.E.L.D. does want to tag them, track them, keep tabs on them, you know, suppress their freedoms in a sense, and that these types of organizations, in a lot of ways and in most ways, it doesn't bode well for the people who are put in this situation alongside them, the people that are being tagged, the people that are being cataloged. History has shown us that usually does not go well. I feel like S.H.I.E.L.D., at least under the guise of somebody like Coulson, is someone I could trust. Like, obviously, there's good reason to do that. Like, if there's criminals out there, people with firearms, unregistered, like, you would want to know who's got the means to take out a mass group of people if you could. Like, it's all about security. Could that information be misused? Sure. It definitely could, but it's all about prevention. It's about the safety of everybody. But for groups that have been, you know, ostracized or villainized or all this stuff, like end on end and end, it's beyond impossible to trust no matter what. And I get that. So having someone like Skye coming in who is someone of both worlds at this point, she's learning about this new side of herself, but she's still also a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. And she's like, I can't fathom what's going on here. It's also because S.H.I.E.L.D. didn't do this. Gonzalez didn't do this. It was your mom the entire time. And then like also like the horrors of her ability, the revelation of that, the fact that she has to hide that from Skye, because that would maybe change the way she looks at her as well. She consumes life, her own, in order to heal herself. I don't know if that was a person was human. I don't know if they were inhuman. I don't recall. Either way, she sustains herself on the lives of others. And then also she's the one putting her own people's lives at risk and risking them for their own quote unquote safety. Now they had to knock her out. They took her to this ship. They're taking everybody else left and right. They're securing all of this. What's the next stage of this plan? Like, can they use this thing for their own benefit? Because they made it seem like it was designed purely to kill them. Or are they just here to remove the people that could potentially use it and get it back under their control so it can't be used against them? Or is there an alternate use for this that they can use against everybody that's not inhuman? Then we have this whole thing with Ward, 13, and Bobby, where I love Bobby's fight throughout this whole thing, man. Turning it back on Ward, digging into him because, you know, she's right, man. I do not buy that this is some altruistic move from Ward, that he genuinely cares about her, because it shows in his reaction to any time Sky has been mentioned while he's been playing this game with 33, sorry. You know, I like that she calls him out on this whole like act that he's putting on. He was like, we're talking about betrayals here. You're like the king of all betrayals, dude. Oh my God. And then on top of this, setting this trap for Hunter to come to her rescue, come through that door and get mowed down, because if he can't break her, if he can't get her to apologize, admit what she did, even though she said exactly what was going on. It's like anybody in her position should have or would have done the same thing. Kara just sees it as this slight against herself, personal slight against herself. It just shows how much she's broken and how blinded she is by Ward's tactics. Sure, he probably did tell you everything, but you're ignoring all the telltale signs. Ward is right now, I might not know I did the same shit with Reyna. I know I did the same shit with Gonzalez, but Ward, I am very confident. Then I was quite confident about them, but I am like super confident that Ward is just trying to game this for some sort of advantage of his own. If I'm proven wrong later, I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. I don't know. Don't know what consequence should come my way for that. But anyway, I don't really know what's going to happen next, man. There's just chaos end on end right now. S.H.I.E.L.D. never seems to be able to get a solid footing back, no matter what. We even combined our agencies and resources together, and now most of that has already been wiped out by this one little attack. Well, not wiped out, not yet. They've all been restrained so far, but I don't buy that they're not going to kill all these people and do exactly what they did with Gonzalez, with all the people they're holding hostage. Or maybe they're just that. They're going to just hold them hostage. Be like, hey, all right, so we got all your people. Leave us the fuck alone or they all die. I don't know. I feel like she's going to take a blow. I think she's one that just wants to wipe out. Like she said, she's not going to stop until S.H.I.E.L.D. is destroyed. As long as they exist, she believes they will keep on coming for them. I don't know, man. It's just a shitty situation all around. And let's be real though, if Sky really wanted to like put up a fight, she could obliterate all of them. Like she could unravel their molecules, disintegrate them, and turn them into dust if she really, really wanted to. Not that I think she's got that strong of a handle on her powers just yet, but let's just be real. She is one of the most dangerous entities in this universe right now, which is insane. Almost inhuman, one might say.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. I will say though, I do see where he's coming from about like Ward not really caring that much about Kara, because even I myself, just like I can't, as I have really delved into this rewatch, I just like, okay, you could say that he proclaims love for her and he does mourn for her when she dies, but like with somebody like Ward, it really is hard to know exactly where you stand with him. Like, I do think he cares for Kara. Mm-hmm. I do think that in his own fucked up way, he's doing this for her. But when if this is your act of love, well, love. Okay, that's what it comes down to.
I really do think that it's just he's trying to get as much control of her as he can. Mm-hmm. You know, like I think there's some part of him that does understand that like she's not gonna get closure until she gets revenge on the people who did her dirty and all that. But I also do think that if I do this for her, she's gonna be loyal to me. You know. Because that's basically what he wanted with Sky. We mentioned it before. Like, whenever the moment where, you know, Sky was questioning him and he was just kind of like Oh, and then he realized that they were going to give him up to his brother. And he's like freaking out, like, no, don't do that, don't do that. But then the second he realizes, like, oh, is this also about your dad? Like, he just switches that attitude and goes like, oh, okay, I can control this now. Like, that's who he is now. And especially because of how he was in the, at the end of the first season when, what's his name? The guy, Garrett. You know, he just kept telling him, like, do whatever you want, dude. Like, do whatever you want. I don't need me, whatever. Just like, be chill. You know, it's all like that. But Ward is just like, what are my orders? What are my orders? Like, please tell me what to do. And like, I'm sure some part of him thought, like, okay, I was being kind of pathetic right there. I don't want to do that again. And so now he wanted to do that with Sky. Realized it's not going to work out. Got 33.
Mm-hmm.
So. There's that. Also, Omni mentioning why Jiaying would want to hide her powers from Sky. Her absorbing like people's life force. Is that also how she stayed young, or is that just part?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I was wondering.
They specifically say earlier on how well, actually, in the beginning of part 2, Cal is going to go into depth a little bit more on that, but. Yeah, somebody would.
Oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah, he say that like she absorbed all the people in the village so she can be fully healed.
Not all the people, but
a lot of
a person or two.
Mm-hmm.
But no. They destroyed the village. They didn't. She didn't absorb them. Well,
they destroyed.
I don't think. Well, I mean, I think maybe you could say, look, because the specifics are never fully revealed because basically. Cal is able to put her together, but she's like a self-healer. Like her body can heal herself too. So maybe, I think, now maybe this can be disproven. Maybe some people who are listening can say this. My idea is like, Cal was able to, you know, stitch her together enough where the body was beginning to heal itself.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, through the help of some other people, who they killed probably could help her revive herself. Maybe that played into it as well. But my idea is those people in the village were not necessarily killed to heal Jiaying. They were killed because they were going crazy and trying to find their daughter. I think that was the bigger reason why they were killed. Maybe it just so happened that a couple of bodies here and there could have been used to revive her. I think that's the implication there.
Okay.
But clearly Daisy does not know exactly how her mom's powers work. She will next episode.
Okay.
She'll see a very close, let's just say, demonstration of how that power works.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Unfortunately, we can't really say much more because we got a whole other part left to go. And also, it's just like, I really do feel like this is like reviewing half an episode. Even though it was like a full-length episode, it was really part 1. So we'll just say thank you for watching, and you better be back for part 2 because that is a great fucking episode. I mean, it's the second half of this. So stay tuned, guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.